So Destiny 2's initial kind of launch window for the franchise overall is kind of closing up, and naturally we're looking at what is coming up next inside of Destiny 2. We've had the PC launch, we've heard a whole bunch of bits of information news from different sources that are kind of scattered around at the minute. So I figured I'd round up everything we know about upcoming content as far as kind of reveals go, actual launches of new content, the changes that we'll see inside of the content, all into one video. And there is a whole bunch of stuff, so let's get straight into it. Firstly, before the end of October, we will get raid challenge modes inside of Destiny 2. This will launch on Tuesday, 31st of October at the reset time. Completing challenge modes inside of the raid will grant you a new emblem, as well as a guaranteed raid drop for that encounter. But very early in November, the PC crowd will get access to the Leviathan raid, so the 1st of November at 10 AM Pacific is when the raid will actually launch, and then on the Friday, also at 10 AM Pacific, Trials of the Nine will go active, so both of these activities will be available for PC players. As far as news and reveals for the game, one thing to highlight before October is out would be Paris Games Week, and Deej did confirm during TwitchCon that they will have more to reveal during this event. Bungie haven't specified any times or dates where we can expect details just yet, but on Monday the 30th of October at 8 AM Pacific, PlayStation will have its media showcase from Paris Games Week, which will reveal both new titles as well as major updates and expansions for its existing flagship titles, one of which is of course Destiny. So there is a chance that we'll see a trailer, or at least we'll get some details on where we can find new information about what's coming up in Destiny 2, and this includes things like details about Bungie's live reveals. So there will be 3 live reveals happening during November. We don't have specific dates for them just yet, but they will be on Bungie's Twitch channel, and typically when they do these kind of 3 live reveals, there will be one a week sequentially. Typically they'll have a stream where they talk about kind of systems that are changing in the game, they'll have one for sandbox and things like that, and then they'll also have one where they reveal, you know, new activities or content. So while we don't have dates just yet, it's pretty much just around the corner. The very latest, if they're going to have one per week in November that this could begin, would be the week beginning the 13th of November, and these reveals will certainly be for the first DLC, The Curse of Osiris, as well as Season 2, which I'll detail more in a couple of moments. Before we get to Season 2, and during November when we're learning a whole bunch about the DLC and everything like that, we will have new in-game events or returning events. So we'll see the second faction rally event as well as the return of Iron Banner. Both of these are confirmed to be returning before Season 2 starts. These will be the final iterations of these events before we start Season 2, but following all of these various reveals and things like that, finally in December it'll be a pretty busy month. So we're going to see the launch of Season 2, as well as this we will see the Curse of Osiris DLC release, and we'll see a live event for the winter called The Dawning. So there is going to be quite a lot of new content, big changes and updates actually happening in December, and November is looking to be a month full of news and reveals for all of this content. But to point out what some of this content is actually going to look like, Season 2 will bring new ornaments for Iron Banner and Faction Rally armor, which will give them new visual themes, which is always cool. More importantly though, we will see brand new weapons for the Iron Banner with new models as well as new bonuses, and we'll see new ornaments as well as new perks for the Trials of the Nine weapons. So essentially they'll be bringing existing stuff in the game kind of up to par with new update content for the expansion, and we'll also see a host of changes to quality of life and things like that in the game. The Dawning event, which will begin in December, will bring new collectibles such as ships, armor, emotes, shaders and more. We're also going to see some quirky gameplay mechanics such as snowball fights in social spaces and even inside of patrol zones and PvE activities, so that's going to be interesting. We haven't had any word about SRL just yet, but it seems very likely that Sparrow Racing or something similar will return during this period of time. Curse of Osiris has been confirmed to launch in December of this year, and it's going to bring new story content, weapons, armor, exotics, the Mercury patrol space, as well as a new PvE mode called the Infinite Forest. Even more stuff as well. We'll have new Crucible maps. But on top of this content coming to the game, Bungie are working on some big improvements, some of which will hopefully be happening across the period with this new expansion and Season 2 into early 2018. We have heard about these, but some of what Bungie is working on includes new systems and rewards to give the most engaged players additional and optional pursuits, better incentives for players who complete challenging prestige activities, more rewards and replay values for strikes, adventures and lost sectors, private matches for the competitive community, which should be happening early in 2018, additional Crucible tuning and quality of life updates, better incentives for for completing Crucible matches, as well as penalties for quitting competitive matches. They include the continued improvements for Iron Banner and faction rallies, some of which we've actually spoken about, changes to the mod economy to make them more interesting and impactful, improvements to exotics as well as instances of duplicated exotic drops, new ways to spend surplus currencies such as legendary shards, and an emote interface that allows players to equip up to 4 emotes at the same time. They specify exotic emotes, but it could include others as well. So that pretty much rounds up everything we currently know about what is going to happen in the next 2 months of Destiny. There's been some very understandable frustration from the community about, how actively Bungie are updating the game and making system changes and things like that. And I figured because all of this news has been so fragmented that I'd kind of break it down and put it into one video and give us a bit of a taste of exactly what is going to be happening in the bigger picture, over the next couple of months, because it is actually quite a lot of stuff, and there are also quite a lot of promising changes inside of here as well, but many of the real serious system changes that a lot of the hardcore audience are kind of concerned about right now have not been detailed, and we will be getting that stuff inside of the streams, inside of these reveals during November. So if there's stuff you haven't heard about, I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that it isn't happening yet. Bungie have very vaguely kind of promised us what we're going to be looking at, but we have minimal details on what that truly means just yet. Either way, I'm certainly much more confident knowing that this is the stuff they're looking at, and looking at all of the kind of reveals and the amount of content that's come in, I think we'll be in for a bit of a treat come December. So there we go, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, a like is appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny 2 content. But for now, thanks for watching and have an awesome day.